G'day and welcome back to the second in our rebooted YouTube series called What I've Been Reading. Now, if you watched the first one, you watched Willpower with Darius, we've got a cracker for you today. Now, what I've been reading is part of our, as I said, revitalized YouTube series. We're doing Stock of the Month, we're doing Stocks in Focus, we're doing What I've Been Reading, we're doing some YouTube Lives. I did one of those just recently, depending on when you're watching this, it may have been months ago, but when we're recording this, only last week. Lots of great stuff on our YouTube channel. So if you are keen to get more from us, you'll be even keener after this chat. But if you are now, please hit the like button. It helps other people find this video. Hit the subscribe button under the video, just down there somewhere. All the cool kids do that. You're supposed to smash something, one or the other. Smash the like button, I think. And then if you want to get notified when we do have more content out, hit the little notification bell that's on the right-hand side under me, and next to the subscribe button, I think, which will help you find that information. In fact, YouTube will bring it to you and say, hey, the Motley Fool put out a new great piece of content on YouTube. Go and have a look. Now, when I say it's great content, most of it is not me talking. I'm hopefully hosting and asking questions, but our group of gun analysts and advisors are the people who are bringing the great content to you. Now, what I've been reading was originally back in the old days, we rebooted it, called Our Favorite Investment Books. And it was the books that we read that we really liked. We thought, hey, we'll bring it to people. Problem is, that's only a short series, right? There's only so many favorites you can have, but there's so much great content that gets put out, lots of books, but also other content as well. So this is the first time we're having a piece of content that is not a book. It's actually a written academic paper. Now, don't worry, we're going to make it interesting and enjoyable. Our guest is going to do that, I bet you. But yeah, it's just a chance for us to say, hey, a cool thing was written. We read it. We wanted to share it with you. Hence what I've been reading, hence this series. So with that, relatively long preamble, I'm going to introduce Motley Fool advisor and analyst Ed Vesely. Ed, g'day.
G'day, Scott. Thanks for the intro there. Yeah, I've got a couple of interesting ideas to talk about today.
Excellent. Now, mate, you are a resident retirement and superannuation expert, I have to say. You did have a career in the ATO, looking after SMSFs for a while, and you have a wealth of knowledge and a real passion for the area. So I'm not surprised you bought us a paper called Retirees Spend Lifetime Income, Not Savings, written by David Blanchett and Michael Fink. Mate, that's a partly provocative title, partly not a surprising title, but share with us why you've bought us a paper called Retirees Spend Lifetime Income, Not Savings.
Sure, it's a working paper, so I would say there's still more research to be done, but it was very interesting. This particular paper was published just at the end of December last year, so it's fairly recent. But when I just read the media and I read things about superannuation and retirement and all those sorts of big picture topics, I always come across case studies of people wondering, well, what do I do with my money when I'm retired, and how do I invest it? And it's a big picture. It's a big question, because the way superannuation in Australia is set up, it really is designed for accumulation, and rightly so, because we need to save more and we need to live well, hopefully in retirement. But not many people are designed to really think about, okay, how do I actually use these savings when I actually do retire? It's a really big question. What David Blanchett and Michael Fink talk about is they've found in the research to date that it does appear to be a behavioural resistance to spending down savings in retirement.
Yeah.
And that may not be too surprising, because a lot of people may be watching this video thinking, oh yeah, I know about that, because I might have $500,000, and some people might have $2 million in retirement, whatever the sum is. It doesn't really matter. But what do they do with that money, and how do they draw it down? What Blanchett and Fink talk about, just to set the scene, is there are when people are working, generally, unless they're running a business, they're working for wages, and so they have that regular paycheck, which is fortnightly or monthly or weekly in some cases. But the traditional retirement outside of superannuation might have been things like a pension or social security of some sort. And of course, we also know about companies like Challenger, which is a company listed on the stock exchange, but it provides private annuities. So people can come along with a lump sum and put that money into an annuity, and it pays them a regular amount, just like a wage, just like a salary. And what Fink and Blanchard talk about is that these people that have such an annuity or a pension or an age pension, social security and so on, they actually find it much easier to spend money. And that's because the money is actually coming to them on a regular cadence. It's there every fortnight or every month, and they can spend the money. It's an income. And so just like they've done with wages throughout their working lifetime, it's actually a fairly easy thing to do. It's a habit they've been able to develop since they started work, maybe back in their late teens or early 20s. And so lifetime income, which is what this is called,
Mm,
makes it very simple to spend money. So again, the problem is, what do people do when they don't have this wage? What do they do if they don't or aren't eligible for Social Security, or can't be bothered with an annuity because maybe the returns are far too low?
mm,
So what he's basically was what the both authors are saying is that if some of this money can be converted to an income, so if there's a lump sum in superannuation, or it could be savings outside of super as well, if that can be converted into a lump sum, then their propensity to spend money in retirement is going to be a lot higher. And that's actually a better outcome for the retiree, because ultimately you want to be able to live well and not worry too much about money, but you also want to not have that fear of worrying about running out of money, I guess. That is a real fear, because what we don't know in the future is when am I going to pass away? That's the big
mm,
question.
mm,
But what's my health going to be like? There's a lot of other issues that could come up. So in addition to health, there could be aging parents as well. There could be helping the kids out with university or getting into their own housing. There's all sorts of claims on assets, but because of that, there is this risk, or this scare, or this fear that if I've got all these other claims coming, then I probably shouldn't spend too much money on this right now. And even if I do take money out from a lump sum, oh, geez, it feels like a loss to the
mm,
portfolio.
mm.
And so I thought that was a very, very interesting article. And anyone could easily Google this online and find it there. It is an academic working paper, as I say, and it's likely that there might be something more coming in the future. But ultimately, I think the whole point of this article is that, okay, if there is a problem and people aren't spending money when they do have maybe plenty of money as considered by other people, then what's the solution? Well, partly the solution is policy. So governments are trying to incentivize people to actually take out income streams. And we see that with superannuation here. When someone turns 60, and if they declare retirement, they can actually access their super. Now they have a choice of taking a pension or a lump sum or both, and that's okay. But again, if you've got this issue with accessing money and not knowing how or when to spend that money, uh, according to this research, those people are most likely better off with an income stream so that they can actually set up that monthly or fortnightly payment. So I thought it was very interesting from my point of view, because I've
Mm.
been working for most of my life since I was in my early 20s, and I'm thinking, well, I'm so used to actually saving money and putting money aside.
Right.
All of a sudden, there's got to be this huge mind shift.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what happens? Do I do this at 60 or 65, or do I keep working? There's all sorts of questions that come up. So when I say it's a really big question, it really is. It's just if anyone was to read this, they would think, okay, it's really just a starting point. It gives you something to
Mm,
think about, and really
mm.
it helps you to think about your own situation. And especially if you're not 60 yet, or if you're not retired, think about this right now and try to get in that mindset of, okay, so what am I going to do? So it's not something that you can just come up to and say, right, okay, retirement, right, that's it, it's all sorted. It won't be. There's a lot of thinking involved.
Mate, I gotta say, I don't want this to be a plug, right? But it's going to be a plug. It's going to sound like a plug. It's a plug. You and I work on a service we run called Motley Fool Everlasting Income, which is now, I want to say, 8 years old. Is that?
Yeah,
I think we've always
eight
got our
years.
8th anniversary. Um, that's kind of exactly. And look, we had no. Well, maybe I'm gonna give us a little bit of credit. So maybe we kind of intuited this. But that's kind of how we've run that service, right? We've said to people, take your lump sum, invest it, and take out a regular monthly income stream for you to go and spend. We kind of created an annuity of sorts. Now, it's not a perfect annuity because it's not a
Mm.
guaranteed income stream. That's kind of the approach we took, which frankly makes me feel good when we're looking at this paper, thinking we did a good thing. We're helping people do what researchers just they can't get over. But without that being, I mean, and by the way, if you want to join Motley Fool Everlasting Income, we open it regularly. You'll get an email. If you join our mail list, you'll get an email from it. I'm not going to plug it too hard, only just to say it's there, it's a thing. And by way of kind of example, because the question I wanted to ask you, I suppose, mate, was we can't give people personal advice. We can talk generally and give general financial advice. For people who are in near retirement, who are confronting this, and from your own kind of reflections on your own circumstance in the wake of reading the paper, what are you thinking? How do you think people should think about that challenge of not spending too little in retirement, making sure you have a quality retirement. We've worked hard for 40, 45 years to then
Mm.
say, well, I won't spend that money just in case. Feels like a really, I mean, it is a pretty poor outcome, right? You want people to go and enjoy the fruits of their saving and their hard work and that sort of thing. Did you have any thoughts for yourself? Do you have any advice for our viewers as to how to go about mentally kind of making that switch for themselves?
Yeah, basically, start thinking now. According to this
Mm.
research, people who don't have an income stream and haven't set up social security pensions or private annuities or whatever, they actually spend about half the amount that
Wow.
other retirees have. So there's
Yeah.
so much money being left on the table, and
Mm.
potentially down the track, you might have all these expenses, but you could still have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars left over.
Right.
Great problem to have, but not if you're 91 in really bad health and you're about to
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we are all going to pass at some point. But there's an old saying that I've read many times in the past. You don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard.
Yeah.
You've really got to think about, okay, you do have to think about the amount of expenditures coming up over the next
Mm.
few decades. So if you're 60 today, you've got to really think, unless your health is particularly poor, you should really be living well into your 80s and hopefully your 90s and beyond that if you're lucky. So you've got to think about those expenses, absolutely. But you've also got to think, okay, I don't want to be able to cling on to this money so badly in case of something that might happen. When in the meantime, you've actually got a life that you need to live. And
Yeah.
with time obviously being one asset that is depreciating every single day, it's best that you take advantage of that today. Use what it is. It might be travel. It could be something else. It could be just a renovation of the home. It could be whatever it might be.
Mhm.
But it has to be important. But importantly as well, you've got to be able to say, okay, I am going to draw down that money and I'm not going to be spending at 50% of the rate of other retirees who could have perhaps half as much. So I think, well, if you're going to spend half the rate or a lot less, then why have the money at all? You may as
That's
well
yeah,
be.
exactly right. Give half
So
it away, right? If you, yeah, that's right, exactly.
now I suffer, and maybe you too. I suffer from this. I have a portfolio, and I treat it as in somewhat a scorecard. I
Yeah.
like to, there's obviously the footy, there's the Broncos and Manly and so on, and
And the Roosters head and the Roosters. Come
and the
on.
Roosters,
Thank
right?
you. There we go.
Absolutely, and I follow that, and it's good to see your team win.
Yeah.
Now, even if they don't win, to
I
see
was going to say, let's talk about the Roosters. No, let's not
it's
talk
a
about the Roosters
tries,
now again.
absolutely. But spending money, well, actually accumulating money is a
Yeah.
totally different mindset to spending it. So yes, it's a
Hmm.
scorecard. So I guess I have to confront this. And part of confronting this myself, I'm not near 60, but I am at the point where, okay, I really should start thinking about this. What am I going to do? It's not going to be just a case of, oh, retiring and then going on holiday. I mean, sure, there might be. In fact, there was a podcast the other day I heard that people who retire, they have this wonderful time off. There's no schedules or anything or meetings that they have to deal with, and they can go on this big driving trip throughout Australia, or they want to go to see Northern Europe or whatever it might be. But that sort of enjoyment sort of disappears after about 12 months to 18 months.
Right.
And then what? You need some sort of schedule. So again, this gets into retirement and what does retirement
Mm.
really look like? These are questions you have to think about. But alongside all of that is the money. And you have to think, okay, this money is here for a reason. It really is to actually draw down and to enjoy life as best as one can for you and the family and not to be too scringy. Well, I suppose,
Yeah.
or you don't want to be too tight with the money in retirement because it's taken a lifetime to earn this money. You've really got to enjoy it. But I acknowledge absolutely that there are people there that do want to save money and keep it aside for some major expense, possibly in the future. It could be retirement in a home, sorry, in a serviced nursing environment or something similar. That may well be the case, but you've got to find that balance. And as the research shows, many people are underspending. So ultimately, it's underspending. I'm not saying people should overspend. It's just about finding the right amount of spending
Nice.
and start
Okay.
thinking about it
Okay.
now. Even if you're in your 30s and 40s, you should do that
Yes.
right now.
I'm going to throw you a book. This is not about me and my book recommendation, but I don't know if you've have you read Die with Zero?
No, I haven't, but I've heard the title
So once
and
people have finished watching this, if you're interested in what Ed's talking about, go and have a look at Die with Zero. I don't agree with the whole book, by the way, so don't at me, as the cool kids say, with your thoughts. But this author basically writes the idea of like, don't to your point, mate, die the day after spending your last cent. Now we can't do it directly and accurately. He makes that point very clear up front. But exactly what you're talking about, mate. How to think about the accumulation, the enjoyment, and then the decumulation, can I use that word, over time. And you talk about, experience points. And you can sit in your house and not put the heater on and watch daytime TV and end up with blowing with $10 million. Or you can go and have those experiences. And by the way, to your point about 30s and 40s and 50s, have some experiences when you can enjoy them. If you're going on a hiking holiday, don't wait till you're 75. I mean, there are some great, my second cousin is spectacularly fit at 80 something. She's amazing. Most people aren't going to be doing hiking holidays at 70, at 85. So exactly the point you're making. So if people are keen, again, I don't agree with the whole book and you haven't read it, so I won't ask you to support it, but Die With Zero, it's a very thought-provoking book, if nothing else. You'll agree with some, you disagree with some, but it does give you a nice lens on what Ed's talking about just making sure you don't underspend and miss out on enjoying some of the fruits of those labors.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And ultimately, life is finite. And it sounds so obvious, doesn't it? But
Yep.
when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you think, oh, physically, I feel great. There's no reason why I couldn't live forever.
Yep.
But time will change things. Absolutely.
It catches up.
People in their 50s and 60s and 70s will know exactly what that's all about.
There you go, kids. Take it from the old people. Enjoy your life. There was a great, do you remember what was it? Everyone was free to wear sunscreen. It was on, I think it was a Moulin Rouge soundtrack, a Baz Luhrmann song. And he says, be kind to your knees, you'll miss them when they're gone. I can only suggest that's also, but both knees and money are made to be used, but use them at the right time for the right purpose. Otherwise, you may regret not doing it.
100%.
All right, Ed, that's been great. Thank you for bringing us Retirees Spend Lifetime Income, Not Savings. I will endeavour to remember to put the link to that paper in the description below. Normally, the books you can buy on Amazon or Booktopia or wherever you want to buy them. But this one's a science paper. The good thing is you can download it for free. It's free, right?
Yes.
I think
it's freely available.
Beautiful.
I'll put the link.
Good. We'll throw the link in the description. Excuse me, I got sniffles. And you can download that. Have a good read. Well worth your time and effort, I think. As Ed talks about, planning is really the number one, right? Circumstances will happen. Compounding happens while we're doing other things. If you plan it up front, it grows to that level. To Ed's point, think about it and how you take that from a growth scorecard, how big can I make it, to how well can I spend it. That is a whole different degree of expertise, a whole different approach to life. And mate, I really appreciate you reading the paper. Thanks for being our retirement guru. Thanks for bringing it to us. I know you've already shared it with our Everlasting Income members, so they've got a second bite at the chair if they've watched this, but they get to see it in video form, which is awesome. If you're not a member of the Motley Fool, that's cool. No hard sell, no pressure, no dramas. If it is something you want to have a look at, you can get in touch with us. It's not an ad. I'm just saying if it's something you thought about and you want a way to do it, there's other products out there as well. But if you want to get in touch, you can. Otherwise, that's the end of the ad. I'm not gonna push it. Just sometimes people want some help, and it's kind of what we're here for. So if you do want some help, go there. Otherwise, please do like and subscribe to the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We've got more great content coming out. What did we go this next Wednesday? Wednesday afternoon, Stocks in Focus. You'll get next, then Stock of the Month a few weeks later. Another what I've been reading from another one of our gurus this Saturday, coming a week from now. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being a fan of the Motley Fool. Thanks for spending time with us. Ed, thank you for sharing your expertise. And until we all chat again, Fool on.